What's up, everybody? This is Not for Debate. G Money with Havoc. Make sure you check
Ah,
us out. What's up?
and I just had an evil laugh inside of me that I had to let out.
Oh, you gotta let out. Why? What happened?
Out of bed, it's been a while, man. I've
I
been on
know.
the
I see you
grind, man.
rocking. You rocking the Miami wear. Okay, no UM though. What are UM colors?
Oh, bro, yeah, man. This is day off attire. Got to represent.
No. Even though we just lost to Florida State, but I'm pretty sure Banks is having a ball with that. But
I mean,
whatever.
but I grew up a Florida State fan, so that's not me. That's y'all. Even though
Okay, well, cool.
I have not watched college football, and I don't has to been at least a decade.
Yes, it's different from back then. It's different. It's not as passionate as it used to be.
Yeah, especially like up here in New York City, college football don't exactly hit the way it hits in some of the other parts of the country where college football's got a little more sway.
New York City still all about basketball.
It's about pro football and basketball. Yeah.
I didn't realize football was big in New York. I thought it was baseball and basketball.
Oh no, man, it's Jets and the Giants, bro. And it's like there's a borough attachment thing because like if you roll around Queens, it's
It's the
like
Jets, right?
Queens. Yeah, Queens is like the Jets and the Mets. Um, and like Manhattan, Bronx is more on the Giants and the Yankees. And
Hmm.
Brooklyn don't know what it wants
Right,
to
because
be.
I back in the day, I think it was Shea Stadium. That's where the Jets used to play, and also the Mets, I believe. Right?
The Mets,
Was it
yeah,
Shea Stadium?
the Mets used to play at Shea. Um, but the Jets have been playing out in New Jersey for a minute now. They've been playing out in
Yeah,
East
the
Rutherford.
Giants too.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
But yeah, man,
So
that's
anyway,
it.
just yeah. Go ahead, man. I'm sorry about the delay. Just make sure you catch us on Facebook and YouTube, and listen to us on Spotify. Again, welcome back, Havoc. My man's been busy, but it's good to see you. Anything you want to say before I, get the first topic in?
I mean, it's good to be here. It's always good to come here, converse, talk about sports, talk about the world, talk about what's going on around us. Uh, you know, it's just it's very interesting because sports is really just a lens that we utilize to view things through. Like we were able to understand how chemistry works, how camaraderie works, how teamwork works through sports, but
Mhm.
also through the lens of sports, we can take a look at society and better understand that because for many people, not everybody, um, not everybody knows all these. I'm in school. Not everybody knows all these fancy terms that I'm paying all this money to learn, but I
Mhm.
think sports does allow us the ability to kind of um, encounter a lot of topics, encounter a lot of subjects that if it weren't for sports, regular day to day people would not be talking about these things. So as always, it's good to be here.
Yeah, it's like a bridge to other conversations. I get you.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, think about it, even back in the day. You're talking about like Muhammad Ali and Jim Brown. You know,
Mhm.
they they utilize their platform to get the word out on what on what needed to get what needed to get out. So uh, always interesting to come here and talk.
That's cool, man. That's a great insight. And to that, I have something that I want to ask you that
Hmm.
me and Quinte talked about last week. But the first topic is Golden State Warriors. For the last 2 years, everyone's saying since when they were healthy, they're going to be a great team. Honestly, I didn't think they were going to be a great team. I thought they were going to be middle of the road, fifth, sixth, fourth seed, something like that. But they just came out the gate. Just they have. Speaking of chemistry, their chemistry is so nice. The way they move the ball, the way they play together. And Steph right now is averaging 28.4 points a game, which is
Hmm.
which is great. My whole thing is I don't want to be a downer on the Golden State Warriors, but the reason why they got Kevin Durant is because when they get to the playoffs, teams get more physical and double team Steph off the pick and roll and make it harder for him. That's a lot of reasons why they couldn't beat the Cavs in 16. That's why they picked up Kevin Durant. Do you see that happening? Do you think this is just a regular season thing, and then once they get to the playoffs, something bad will happen? Or do you really think Golden State has a chance to win it all?
Well, I'll say number one, even throughout all the injuries and the past two subpar seasons, I mean, the organization is committed to their core guys. Steph, Klay, and Draymond, and Steve Kerr as a coach. They're committed to their core guys. So you could look. I mean, look, Draymond Green. He's an integral part of that team. But you put Draymond Green on the Sacramento Kings, it's probably not that sweet. So I'm just saying, So they've been able to keep their core together. So really, they're the Golden State Warriors are really they're just a bear that's been hibernating the past few winters. And now, but at the end of the day, when you put the bear in the right situation, a bear is going to be a bear. And Steph Curry is playing out of his mind right now. So I think what we're seeing right now is, and this happens a lot, like particularly when teams, like really good teams, their players get older, they have to shift their game. They have to rework how they win games. I think about the Bulls of the 90s when, early 90s, it was high flying Jordan. It wasn't really post up fadeaway Jordan, it was still beating guys off the dribble, taking it to the hole, just being the most athletic guy out there with Horace Grant, Scottie Pippen in them. But then the 96 Bulls were a more mature Bulls team, and they're a little bit wiser, they're a little bit stronger. They didn't have to utilize as much energy to get the job done. But what we're seeing right now is, I mean, look, a lot of guys in the league can shoot, but there's only one Steph. There's only one Steph. And, when people, you talk about the greatest shooters, of course, people bring up Steph. But when they talk about just the greatest players overall, his name is not really brought up. But,
you think that should change?
I mean, look, in my opinion, you want to talk about the greatest point guards of all time? For me, Steph is top 3.
Top 3.
Top 3.
Okay, give me your top 3. I want to hear it because I got my top 5.
Well, okay, number 1 is Magic. Number 2, number two is very. There is no definitive number 2. I think it just comes down to preference. For me, like it's tough. I mean, my preference would be towards Isaiah Thomas from the Pistons, not 5'9" Isaiah Thomas, but I say Magic as Magic, Isaiah Thomas, and Steph Curry, because there's nothing you can do with him. Like, even when they were their first dynasty, there was a way. The strategy was muscle up on him, and he'll fade. And it worked to a certain extent. But I think now, I mean, he's a little bit older, but his body's a little more built up. He's a little more built to withstand, withstand that type of pressure. But also, and this is something that I noticed from the Miami Heat run, it's exhausting going to the playoffs every year.
Going to the finals every year, yeah.
Going to the finals every year is exhausting, and after a while, it's not fun. It's just a job. So
you need a break, a mental break.
Yeah.
And
so
physical, yeah.
So maybe, I mean, Klay's injury could have been a blessing in disguise, because it gave the Warriors time to just play. They didn't have to go around and be the marquee matchup when they were on the road every night. They just went out there, they played. They didn't win a lot of games, but they were able to get some guys some playing time that they probably wouldn't have gotten some playing time. They were
Mm-hmm.
able to get a high draft pick, James Wiseman. Um, and they have some really really good core guys. They got Jordan Poole out there. They brought back
And they
Looney.
got they got they got they got Andre back. They got Iggy back,
They
which
got
is huge for
Iguodala
them, I
back.
believe.
Like
Yeah.
you can see that you can see the retooling, and once Klay's back, I mean that's you know that's the cherry on top. So in my opinion, when it comes down to the playoffs, look, usually it comes down to the healthiest team wins. Um,
Pretty
but
much.
if I'm looking at the Western Conference, I'm not even, to be honest with you, I'm not even considering the Lakers. That whatever they're doing down there is not working. And what I mean it's not working, I mean once again, Russell Westbrook, one of the most entertaining, fascinating players in the entire NBA. You cannot convince me you cannot convince me that Russell Westbrook is the final piece on top of the cake that's going to get you a championship. Man, he can't shoot. And he can't shoot and he takes a lot of shots. But back to Golden State. Um Look man, if Klay comes back and he's 85% of what he was before the injury, I mean, I'd have to put Golden State in the Western Conference Finals.
Against who?
Oof.
Utah, the Clippers, Denver Nuggets when they get Jamal Murray back, or maybe somehow the Lakers sneak in.
You know, it's I'm for me, I think probably I would think the Jazz, even though I wouldn't pick the Jazz to win the Western Conference Finals, but they every year they just get a little bit better. And they've been knocking out on that door. But I think the main issue with the Jazz is they got one really good player, one really great defensive player, and a bunch of kind of good guys. And I don't know if that's enough.
Yeah.
Because Steph is on another planet right now. Like it's like he's the dude watching him play is like a video game. It's like 2K on the PS5. It's not fair. So, hey man.
It really isn't, man. It really isn't. It's so unfair how he's playing, and they're doubling him, and he's playing better off the double. Before, I think when he would get double team in the past, it would frustrate him, but now he's just finding lanes and backdoor screens, and the way that they're playing, the way the ball movement is just tremendous. I want to get back to the top 5 point guards though.
Yeah.
Everybody forgets this guy. I don't know why people forget this guy. So first, Magic is number 1. I don't want to hear about nothing. Magic is number 1.
Yep.
John Stockton is number 2 to me.
I can't disagree.
Before Isaiah, in my opinion.
I can't disagree with that.
And then maybe Steph, and then maybe Isaiah, and then it's a toss-up between Nash and Jason Kidd.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I was, Jason Kidd in that number 2 spot. I was considering it just because in his prime he was giving you points, steals, rebounds,
all that. Yeah.
I mean, he was giving you everything except shooting.
What's crazy about J Kidd is he got better as a shooter later on in his career, but in the beginning he was terrible. Yeah, he was bad.
Yeah, no, he was. Yeah, he was. But he was so good at everything else, it almost didn't really matter. Because he was just like a genius on the court. But I will say this is clearly I'm biased, but I mean Tim Hardaway is another guy on that list of amazing point guards for me that I think outside of Alonzo Mourning, he was the only real viable perimeter threat those 90s Miami teams had. So, and I mean,
we had Dan Marley for a couple of years.
Come on, man, calm down.
You don't like Dan Marley?
No, I love Dan Marley, man, but calm down, man.
We didn't get, the problem is we didn't get Phoenix Dan Marley. We got a different version of him. Yeah.
Yeah, we had Jamal Mashburn, but it wasn't the Jamal Mashburn we thought we were getting,
No, not Charlotte.
Yeah. So
I remember those teams, PJ Brown. And,
woo, man, the Road Warriors they called them.
I'm just pissed off. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just because they had the best record in the entire league on the road, but we're like okay at home.
Right, because
Uh,
we lost game 7. We lost game 5 and game 7 to the Knicks at home. I think the first one was 2000, the second one was 2001. I'm like, how did we lose to the Knicks 3 years in a row, man? Like, that
yeah,
was just frustrating.
it's interesting they call it a rivalry because the Knicks won most of the time. But
True.
I mean, look, if every series was good for a fight, at least
I
one
remember.
fight.
I remember Van Gundy was hanging on Morning's legs while his hairpiece was going up.
Oh man, or
Oh
when
my god!
PJ Brown flipped Chris Childs like a small child.
Yeah, just flipped them over. Yeah, Uh, those were the days, man. The late '90s, early 2000s, Heat versus Knicks.
The golden
Those were the
era.
days. Yeah.
And
Hmm.
that the funny thing is, I look at that real nostalgic. That wasn't even the best era of Miami Heat basketball. They didn't win anything during that time.
The
It
best
was,
era was LeBron or D Wade era. D Wade was Shaq.
I mean,
Le-
I don't know. For me, I'm very nostalgic about the D Wade Shaq era because that championship came out of nowhere. Like, like they had Brian Grant, Lamar Odom, Dwayne Wade. I think
Before
Damon
the trade,
Jones. Yeah, before the
right?
trade,
Right.
they
Yeah.
had all these dudes and they shipped them all off to LA and Shaq came in town and they held that big old parade down there in Miami and Shaq was like, "Yeah, we're winning a championship."
What's crazy is D Wade. I think he got hurt in Game 4 against the Pistons, and we ended
hmm
up losing Game 7 in Miami against the Pistons, which was another loss that hit me hard. Like I was like, oh my god,
I
man.
tell you, well, no, a lot that hit me hard is when the Heat were on the cusp of going to the Eastern Conference Finals. Um, and then Chris Bosh and Dwayne. I think Chris Bosh was out.
Oh, 2016, and
Yeah.
Whiteside and Chris Bosh got hurt.
Yes.
And we lost to the Raptors. That yeah, we should have beat the Raptors. And
Like
that would have been the first year that we would have D Wade versus LeBron in the playoffs. I'm
absolutely.
so frustrated that never happened. Because
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
they were
great
great
times.
as teammates, but to see them go at it was even better to me.
Well, even because they were gonna build the franchise around Bosch and Wade, and like when
Mm.
Bosch was the man, like he was like, yeah, like he's still that guy. And then the blood clot thing happened, and then then the Heat got some good draft picks after that.
That's the thing. I was talking to this guy on Facebook, right? And he was saying that LeBron carried the Heat and carried. I'm like, we're not the Cleveland Cavaliers. Stop it. When LeBron
No.
left us, we missed the playoffs that first year and we made it the next year. Our team, the Miami Heat, is such a class, strong organization. They're not like the Dolphins. Sorry, I
Hey,
got
no
had to throw a
offense
shot
taken.
there. So it's like we're fine without LeBron. We'll be fine.
Yeah, I think that was the general feeling. Is like, yeah, like the LeBron thing was an era for us, but like we are a good organization. Now
Mhm.
Cleveland was trash before LeBron showed up. Then LeBron left, they were trash again. LeBron went back, they were great again. LeBron left, they were trash again. They've been trash. So,
They actually look better this year. They're playing a little better. I think they're playing with more energy. I don't know what it is. That it's start because Sexton is actually playing good, and Kevin Love is still in the league somehow. I don't know.
well,
I
they got Colin Sexton playing in the right position. They got him playing shooting guard instead of point guard.
right point guard. Yeah,
And at one point, like everybody on the Cavaliers was 19 years old. So, so it's like it was a bunch of 19-year-olds and Chetty Osman. So you ain't gonna win a lot of games with that formula.
hmm
But they got a lot of they got a lot of pieces, man. But they don't, I don't know if they have a
the
whole team.
the Eastern Conference though. I mean, you got the Wizards at the number one seed. Who the hell seen the Wizards at the number one seed? You got the Wizards, you got the Bucks, the Nets, the Chicago Bulls are. I
hmm
don't know if you've been paying attention.
Yeah,
They look good, man. They look dangerous.
the
They look real
Bulls,
dangerous. Yeah.
the Bulls have a man. This is one of them. It's almost like a Detroit, like our early 2000s Detroit Pistons strategy where we're not going to try and get the biggest superstars out there. We're going to get a bunch of B to B pluses, and we're going to try and make it happen with a bunch of B to B pluses, and that's what it is. They got. I mean, look,
Yeah, man.
DeRozan. He's B plus. Levine B plus. Caruso's a B. Lonzo Ball, you know, B to B plus. So no A's. I wouldn't say they have a A, but I mean the closest thing they have to an A on that team is maybe Levine, because he's a legit 20 to 25 points a game at this
Hmm.
point in his career. But now they got a Caruso who he's got their defense snapping right now.
He's running all over the place on defense, man. He's all over the place. He plays with so much energy and so much passion. This is
Hmm.
this is a G League. They call it G League now. This is a G League player who got picked up by the Lakers and just made the best of his opportunity, which is great. He seems like a guy that gets it. That guy
You
that
know,
stays focused.
I like them guys that go from undrafted to like getting a real shot to do something,
Hmm.
because they never really lose their edge. Like they stay hungry. And when I look at a guy like Caruso, he's just like one of them dudes where, like, if you have a championship team, he's just one of them dudes that is on your team. You know, like, they're guys, they're not superstars, but when you looking at building a championship caliber team, you need guys that will kind of do the do the dirty work, do the things that aren't pretty. The Shane Battiers, the James Posies of the world.
Andre Iguodala, PJ Tucker, I believe. Yeah, those guys
PJ
like that.
Tucker is
Yeah.
a perfect example.
Yeah.
You know, he's PJ Tucker is about 6'5", but he was out here guarding Kevin Durant in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like, this
Kevin was lighting him up, but he just kept coming at him.
up and down. But I
Hmm.
mean, he made it tough for him.
He
So
did.
I mean, mission accomplished. That's what his job is. So I mean, it's looking good. But at the end of the day, I mean, when I'm looking at the East, I mean, I don't know what I don't
There's no
know.
definitive team yet, in my opinion.
I
There's just
don't
a bunch of good teams.
I don't know. I
Milwaukee started out bad. I don't know if
Yeah,
they haven't been playing well.
yeah, but they still have the MVP. If you got the MVP on your team, you always got a chance.
True, true.
Um, but I mean, I'm looking at the way the Heat are playing, and when I remember before the season, Tyler Harrell was like, when you start talking about guys like Luka and Trae Young, you put my name in that conversation. And
He's been
right
playing
now,
well.
right now, I mean, I would say he's the leading candidate for sixth man of the year. I don't even know if it's close, because yeah, if he's averaging 23 off the bench.
I don't
So
know, man. That guy in LA. Okay? So you guys have all of you before the season start. Oh, he's selfish. He's this. Melo is balling, man. You all know been
yeah,
watching. Carmelo is balling. He's
yeah, he
balling. Like
is.
he's another candidate for sixth man of the year. I don't know what
Yeah,
it is about him. It kind of going to the Lakers probably rejuvenated his career, but he looks happy. He's playing his role well. So I think that's another candidate. And Jordan Clarkson too is always a chance for sixth man of the year.
yeah. I think my main thing is I think my main thing with the Lakers is they have a lot of good players. I don't know if all of them should be on the same team.
Mm.
I honestly, I think if you swapped out Russell Westbrook for Alex Caruso, the Lakers would be a better team.
I think if you swap Westbrook with Damian Lillard, the Lakers would be a better team. But I don't know if that's going to ever happen.
Yeah, I mean the Lakers' salary would be like their salary cap would be like $250 million. That happened. Like that's too many All Stars. But yeah, I mean, look, Dame ain't going nowhere unless he gets traded. So
Yeah, but he's I don't know if he's doing well. That's crazy to think he's doing this on purpose. But he's not having a good season, and neither is Portland. Do you think? Okay, so listen to this
neither
trade and see if you
neither
like
is James
this.
Harden.
Go ahead.
Neither is James Harden. Because lot.
So Kyrie for Dame Lillard. Would you like that trade?
I mean, Kyrie for Dame. Look, I mean, I think that'd be a great trade for Brooklyn because Kyrie ain't playing this season. So, but I mean, I would say in general, I mean, Ooh, no, I wouldn't make that trade.
No, no.
No, I would. I mean, if I got Dame Lillard, I'm not moving him for Kyrie because I feel like Dame just gives you more stuff off the court. Like on the court, they're pretty similar,
Right,
but
right.
Dame is like the full package. Kyrie is the most talented point guard, most skilled point guard ever. Um, but I mean, the only reason why he's a point guard is because he's not tall enough to be a shooting guard. That's pretty
Mhm.
much the rub on Kyrie, right? It's kind of like how they try to make Allen Iverson a point. Allen Iverson ain't no point. Allen Iverson's a shooting guard. He ain't no point guard. It's just he's
I
six
think
foot
he's more of a
tall.
combo guard. He's well, yeah, yeah.
He's 6 foot tall. Like you can't. You know what I mean? You're gonna have him. You're gonna have D Wade post him up all game long. It's not gonna be pretty.
True.
But
What
yeah, man.
about James Harden though, and not just James Harden? You have James Harden, you have a Dame that says something, and a couple of other players. I don't know if you heard about the rule change, but there's no more of them, the offensive player leaning into the defender to draw the foul. They're taking that away, and now you see James Harden go from 25 points a game to 18 points a game.
Trae
He's
Young.
struggling. Trae Young too. I personally, I love the rule change. I think that made the league soft, looking for fouls. Like, stop looking for a foul. Just play ball. That's what
Yeah.
if I was in front of James Harden, I'm like, yo, stop crying about not getting the foul call. Just play ball. And if you get fouled, cool, but don't look for it. Just play. But he's getting frustrated. And I laugh because it's like it kind of exposes James a little bit. Maybe he isn't as great as I thought he was, but what do you think about that?
I mean, I love it. You know, I like watching the highlights of superstars staring down referees every game. Like at a certain point, you got to realize that I'm gonna sweep the ball underneath and shoot, and my arm is just gonna happen to get tangled up with your arm as I go to put up my shot. You're starting to like the ref. The refs know what's up. Like when they see this happening, they know what's going on. And now it's like, I mean, James Harden isn't happy about it, but everybody else seems to be happy with it. Like watching the game,
Just adjust.
like I mean, at a certain point, it's just like, you know, are people really going to games to watch James Harden go to the foul line 15 times a game? Is that really what the game is? Because it's it's kind of like James Harden is talented enough on his own that he doesn't need to do that. But when he was able to exploit that rule, he was unstoppable. Like he was getting easy 10 points a game off of the tomfoolery.
He would get 10. He would get 10 to 20 free throws attempts every game, and it's like, so now it's trickling down because they changed the rules. I think that he will adjust by next year, maybe February, March. But
he's going to adjust
he's gonna
by
have
next
to.
week.
He's gonna have
He's
to
going to adjust
next
by
week.
next week. Yeah, like
Okay.
at a certain point, he's the thing is on the Brooklyn. There's another killer on that team.
Mm-hmm.
And I know him and KD are having conversations. At a certain point, KD is going to be like, "Hey, man, they ain't calling it. So you got to get to other spots. You got to, you know, that toy in your bag is no longer valid. But you got so many other tools in your bag. You don't need that. You don't need to do that to be great.
Mm-hmm.
But it's mad easy. Especially James Harden, but he's really stocky. So
Right.
it's easy for him to engage the defender in contact. So I think for a lot of these guys, it's muscle memory, right? They probably been practicing, the whole, pump fake, jump into the guy, the sweep under, tangle the arm, all that.
Right. The flare, like they got hit. Yeah.
They practice all this stuff. So now it's just like, oh man, now I gotta play ball. And that's like now I gotta play ball. It is what it is, man. Everybody else, look, I don't see Jimmy Butler having any problems.
Hmm.
I don't see LeBron James having any problems. I mean, you know, it's pretty obvious the people that are having problems, and it's the people who, when you turn on the highlights, it's the guys that are jumping into guys, stuff like that. But they're all talented. They just got to figure it out.
I said before that team is so dysfunctional, the Brooklyn Nets, with the whole Kyrie situation. But Kevin Durant is having a great season. It's going under the radar. Under the radar. Do you think that they have enough to win it all, like the Nets,
No,
without Kyrie?
no,
No.
no. The whole thing hinges on all three of them.
Hmm.
Like James Harden and Kevin Durant is Oklahoma City without Russell Westbrook. I mean,
Not
that's what
enough.
it is. That's what it is. It's Oklahoma City without Russell Westbrook. So, I mean, they got some nice pieces around them, but the thing is, when you got KD, you got a chance. But
Right.
I don't know about you. I'm not a believer in playoff James Harden. I've seen
Me
it too many
neither.
times.
I've said that all the time, and it's just he just disappears in the playoffs. Like he doesn't play with that same aggression that he does in the regular season. That
I
same passion or energy. I don't know what it is.
I think in like definitive series, like he's good for one game where he'll go like 3 for 20. He's good for at least one game like that. Where it was like game 6 against Golden State. I mean, when Houston, they went like 4 for 40 from 3 point. It was comical. Um, and look, I mean, KD's a killer. James Harden's great, but I don't know if he's a killer the way KD's a killer. The way Kyrie is a killer. I don't know if
Kyrie is a killer.
I
Yeah,
don't know if James Harden is a killer. I know he's
I think.
talented. I know he's a great
Mhm.
scorer. I don't know if he's a killer though.
I think if they had Kyrie there, that would cover up James Harden's mental whatever it is when he gets in the playoffs. I think that he's good enough to help him win if they had Kyrie. But just him and I think if it was just Kyrie and Kevin Durant, they would have a better chance as
I
well.
think so. I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Mostly because mostly because KD and Kyrie, you know, when you come down to these defining moments in these games, you can't hit all the shots, but
Hmm.
they've hit enough of them to show that, hey man, look, I remember that one time Kyrie did it was almost like a barrel roll, like he did like the skip to my Lou. I'm gonna roll around on the floor and then cross the ball over and shoot. Like, who thinks of doing that at the end of the game? Like, how comfortable are you with a basketball that you're pulling out a playground move at the end of a playoff game? Like, that's a killer. That's
That
a
dude's
killer.
special, man. It's just I don't know. Like I hope that something happens for their sake, or like I don't want to see Kyrie retire. Like I want to see him
Hmm.
playing. As annoying as he is sometimes to some people, like he's just his talent is too great to not. It's just frustrating, man. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know if they're gonna trade him. They've been talking about trading him. I don't know what's gonna happen. If he's gonna take the shot,
Uh-huh.
I don't get it. I don't know. It's just
It's
weird. It's a
it's
weird situation.
the whole thing with Brooklyn hinges on all three of them, and two is not enough.
Mhm.
That's just what it is. Two is not enough. Um, but I'm gonna be honest with you, man. This year, I think this year the NBA champion is gonna. It's not gonna be who everybody thinks it's going to be. As a matter of
Like
fact, if
like
I were
Milwaukee last year.
if I were to make a prediction, I would say this year's NBA Finals more than likely would be Golden State Miami.
Ooh.
I think that's what the NBA Finals is gonna be.
Not the you don't think the Bulls are good enough to beat the Heat? No, not yet.
It's they're good. I don't know if they can put it all together year one.
Right, yeah, not year one. Not year.
That's my thing. I mean, they can. I think so. They're really good, but I mean, they also have not faced any adversity yet. Also, the Bull also ain't nobody injured on their team either. Like
That's true.
they're kind of a team that is the sum of all of its parts. You take Caruso out the mix, you take DeRozan out the mix, all of a sudden the Bulls look like the Bulls again.
The Bulls post Michael Jordan, yeah.
Yeah. Post Michael Jordan, pre Derrick Rose.
Right.
The Bulls look like the Bulls again. So, hey man, it's tough, especially you talking about getting down to the playoffs. Boy, you can be really good, but it's a lot better to be really healthy.
True. Like you said earlier, the healthiest team wins usually, most of the time.
Like, I mean, let's be honest with you. Let's be honest.
Oh, here we go.
Toronto had no business winning that NBA championship. They had no business winning that championship.
Okay. Let me just say something, because a lot of people say that, and I get it. My opinion on that, or my point on that, sometimes the road to the championship means a lot. So yes, once they got to the finals, Klay went down, Kevin Durant wasn't healthy. They had an easy run. I get that, but they had to beat Philly and Milwaukee, and they did it. So I think that championship is still, it means something because they had to get to it. So I feel you. I feel you that they had an easier shot because the Warriors weren't healthy, but they still had to get through the two teams on top to get to the championship. So
I mean,
I still give them credit.
I hear what you're saying, and what you're saying is absolutely valid. But I mean, that's something that every team has to go through. Every
True.
team's got to fight those wars to get to the finals. And then, but not every team gets to go to the finals, and all of a sudden, the red carpet is laid out. I mean, let's keep it a buck. The red carpet was laid once KD and Klay went out. The red carpet was laid out.
Let me just say, if Klay was healthy, because I don't know if you remember, Klay was balling in Game 6.
Yeah, he was. He was bawling his eyes out.
Balling. I think the Warriors could have won with just Klay and Steph. That's how much Klay was affected that game. So you never know. But I agree with you. Yeah. I just go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's just one of those things where sometimes the getting there is the hardest part. It's just getting there.
Right.
But it's one of these things where if Kawhi got injured, Golden State I wouldn't be out here talking to. Well, let's say if Kawhi got injured and Golden State swept, like that would still be a valid championship for Golden State. So it's still a valid championship for the Raptors. But y'all had a lot of luck on your side. You had a lot of luck on your side.
I agree. I don't oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's just all NBA players don't always go down within 3 days. That's all I'm saying.
That is crazy, man. He came in, went down, and then Klay went down the next game.
Yep.
Which is, they had a lot of luck. You're right. The Raptors actually had a lot of luck, but it's still kind of valid. Another example of that. Well, actually, I want to transition to another topic. Have you heard about what's going on with the Phoenix Suns?
Go. No, let me know.
The owner, Robert Savers, he's being outed as being racist, sexist, and just being an unhealthy work environment. And a lot of players and ex-coaches and ex-personnel people are coming out against him, and they're saying that his wife is reaching out to the victims, trying to pay them off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I didn't think they had owners like this in the NBA. I thought that was more of an NFL thing, the closet racist, but
nope. I think what we're clearly seeing here, and I'm going to try and be as truthful as I can while also being tactful. But we live in a world, particularly we have an economic system that favors the very few to have the largest amount of wealth while the many are basically fighting over the leftovers. And when you look at a guy like Robert Sarver, I can't help but think about how the intersection of capitalism and white supremacy have elevated him to where he is right now. Because it's not as if he owned the team and then all of a sudden things probably turned for the worse. The Phoenix Suns are likely run very similar to the way his business was run. I'm almost certain of it. Almost kind of very similar to how I'm almost certain the LA Clippers were run, very similar to the way Donald Sterling ran his businesses. Now when you say, and I thought the NFL was kind of the old boys club. I didn't think the NBA was. I mean, from my knowledge, like 100. What isn't it like 97% of all NBA teams are owned by old white guys, right? Like it ain't no different. Ain't no NFL, MLB, NBA. It ain't no difference between all of them. It's all the same club. It's just a different door, right? So when you say, so when they say, and these people have been talking about Phoenix for a while. When they say, abuse, toxic workplace, just discrimination, all these things happening. For me, when I look at it, it's just like, how long do we need to look the gift horse in the mouth before? But before we can kind of just connect all the dots, and to a certain extent, it's like when people are very rich and powerful, we don't necessarily want to see the full truth. I think to a certain extent, we believe that people that are incredibly wealthy are good. We don't want to think that people that have attained great wealth are bad people, because we associate people who are very successful with being good at everything. Like you have a lot of money, so you must be killing it across the board. When in actuality, you just may be very good at generating wealth, which is a skill a lot of people have. But it just happens that wealth is the most wanted commodity in the entire world. Now to the wife part. Once again, we're talking about the intersection of capitalism and white supremacy. You have this man is a billionaire, and his wife is reaching out to former employees. Now that the former employees, they said what they said, and I take them at their word for what they said about how the workplace was. But the wife, she said, I just wanted to reach out with them and set the record straight. No, like, how dumb do you think people are? I know, without knowing, I know you were calling them up saying, "Oh, I know where you work at. Oh yeah, I know the wife of the CEO of that company. Where you work at? Oh, I know the president's wife of that company, X, Y, and Z." She was out there saying, "If you keep saying what you're saying, I'm going to make your life uncomfortable, and understand that I have the power to do that." So when she says I was just setting the record straight, she's not trying to set the record straight. She's trying to set the record lopsided, because the straight record is out now. The straight record's out now. So you're trying to put Pandora back into the box. The issue is what Hove has taught us so long ago. We don't believe you. You need more people. Y'all are just a bunch of rich, racist liars. Period. That's it. So they're doing what they do because that's all they know how to do. They're, they're very wealthy, they're very powerful, but they're trash human beings. And the sooner the NBA kicks them both out, I think the better the NBA will be.
Do you remember that Donald Sterling situation? I think what 2014. You remember
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, man. That I don't. I got to be careful what I say because I don't want to I don't know what it is about, not all of them, but these people, or why they feel that way, or why they have a superiority complex where they feel like they're the more important race, or they've brainwashed people so much, especially us black people, to think that we are beneath them when we should all be together as one. And
Hmm.
it's very unfortunate because they make it bad for all the other people out there, because there are good white people out there. There are very decent white people who are good people and good friend people and treat everybody fair. But the ones that are bad just makes it worse for everybody else, especially the ones that are on top and rich and famous and powerful. It's just frustrating. Like, nobody should have to come to work and be stressed out and be angry and be sad working there. Everybody should come to work and just have a clear peace of mind. Like, who wants to come to work to be rated, and like some of the stuff
Hmm.
that they said, some of the stuff that they alleged that he said, with the women working there, it's just terrible. Nobody should have to be angry coming to work. So I agree with you. If they need to get him out of there, as far as like, just like when Adam Silver banned the Clippers owner a few years back. I,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's to that point because they're still doing an investigation. But if they have to do it, just get people like that out of the NBA, because that, to me,
I
that tarnishes the league.
I think the main problem isn't that it happened. The main problem is that it has been happening for 17 years, and we still have no idea about what we have no idea what to do about it. The issue is not him. He is who he is.
Right. Yeah.
Now, as a society, or within the NBA, they need to come to an understanding about what are the basic rules of governing a franchise that everybody has to abide by. Because it appears, of course, the NBA has rules and bylaws and all these things, but you can basically run your franchise the way you see fit. Now, if you have a workplace that is abusive, that is toxic, where there are allegations of sexual harassment, if there's just everything that is associated with a bad business is associated with this franchise, particularly with this owner. And then once, for me, once I see the wife coming out and contacting people that are, I mean, obviously that's clearly her trying to intimidate them. So when I see that, I don't look at them and say, what's wrong with you? Because you are who you are. The
True.
main issue is the league is supposed to have some type of protocol in place. So if an owner is going about behavior, is going about running their organization, and I'm not just talking about wins and losses. I'm
Right. Yeah.
talking about going about running their organization in a way that is antithetical to the values of the NBA as a whole. What is the protocol for correcting that situation? Because if this has been going on for 17 years,
Which is a
there
long time.
that is the biggest stain on the NBA. Is the same thing with the Donald Sterling situation. People been knowing he's been racist,
Since the 80s. Yeah.
but it took them what 20, maybe 30 something or some odd years to do something about it. Robert Sauber, it's been 17 years. Y'all gonna wait another 15 years and then kick him out? That's the issue. The issue is not him. He is who he is. The issue is us. What is our tolerance for organizations that do not treat people well? And that is a question that only we can answer.
And I'm just afraid because I don't want nothing to come out about Mickey Arison, the owner for the Miami Heat. So far since he's owned the team, he's been nothing but class as far as what people say. But
Mhm.
things come out in the future. But that just makes me worry. That puts a bad light on the NBA for me, because I've always been, in my opinion, NBA over NFL as far as the quality
Yeah,
of
me too.
people, the way that they. I've always been that way because I feel like the NFL, bunch of old white men that are stuck in their ways. And now it's coming out that more owners in the NBA are just like the NFL owners. So it kind of hurts me. It kind of puts a bad light on the NBA, because I love the NBA so much. I love basketball, but I also love
Hmm.
the NBA, and they've been very social conscious, and it just looks bad. So I don't know. I hope it's just him.
Yeah, I mean, It's not. It's if I know anything about the world, I know for a fact it's not. And been particularly because they said this has been going on for over almost 2 decades, and we're just finding out.
Mm-hmm.
What about the owner that's been doing it for 3 years, 5 years, 6 years, 10 years? We have no idea. But it seems like once things hit the 20-year mark, that's when the wallpaper starts to come off the walls, right? But at that point, the damage has been done to enough people. So, for example, the question I would have is, if an employee of an NBA franchise is experiencing a toxic workplace, who in the league can they contact? Who in the league can they reach out to and say, "Hey, man, this guy is wilding out over here, and I know he owns a team, but y'all own the league. So,
Right. Yeah.
what are you going to do about this situation? Because this is a situation, and it's one of those things where you can't really. There's nowhere to go. You can't go to HR because he pays HR, right? Like who are you going who you going to call? Ghostbusters? Like who are you going to call? So the league really needs to look at their protocols and come to an understanding of, if you're an employee of an NBA franchise and where that is engaging in abusive workplace behavior, what recourse do I have to get some form of justice or recourse, or have the league, because the league has taken over a franchise before. With New Orleans, the league took the whole franchise over and just ran the franchise. So, is that what the protocol is for the league? Which is, we've seen enough evidence that you are not fit to represent the NBA, so we're gonna run the Suns until we can find an ownership group that will run this franchise right.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe it hasn't got to that point yet, but you never know. We might get to that point either later this season or during the off season. Just one more topic. I just want to get your thoughts on this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you saw me and Quinte's conversation, or heard it, I should say. The Colin Kaepernick Netflix special or whatever. Did you watch it? What did you think? Do you think Quinte said he was saying that Kaepernick used it to get paid? He didn't really believe in basically said he didn't really believe in what he was trying to do. I said initially that was the thing. Like him kneeling down initially, I think he was really trying to protest. Mm-hmm. Do I think he used it to make money and make? Yes, I do. But initially, I thought he was really honest with his protest. What do you think?
I mean, I will say Colin Kaepernick is aware, much like everybody else is aware, that once he started protesting, his career was over. And that's something that nobody really wanted to say. People say, "Oh, well, they offered him a tryout, but he didn't really want to play. Oh, well, what's this guy? Does he really want to up? All right, let's be honest. Once he started protesting, it was lights out on his career. And people said, "Well, Eric Reid protested. He's in the league. Eric Reid is a safety. He's not a quarterback, right? Eric Reid does not move jerseys, but quarterbacks do." So, at a certain point, Colin Kaepernick has to be aware, I need to earn a living. Like, the thing that I have dedicated my whole life to doing, I can't do any longer. So, I need to move on to my second act of my career. And I also think, to a certain extent, we think that people that do work in social justice, that do work in trying to improve the overall climate of our society, we think they should all do that work and be broke. Like we think we think that anybody that tries to help out society as a whole should be dead broke, because the only way you are authentically looking out for the people in the community is if you are broker than them. We cannot believe, or we choose to not believe, that someone could positively impact the community that where they are from and also make a good living. We for whatever reason, it's almost like we want to give the super wealthy person that passes out turkeys on Thanksgiving. We want to give them a round of applause. But the second that the person that has clearly demonstrated that they are with the cause against police brutality and social justice, the second maybe they want to sell you a shoe, maybe they got a TV show they might want you to watch, maybe they got a documentary they might want you to pay to see. Maybe they have an appearance that they may charge you to see them talk at. The second they do that, oh, they didn't believe in that in the first place. Oh, they weren't really with the
Mm,
cause. Oh, they weren't
mm,
really with what they were talking about. It's the notion on its face is preposterous. Absolutely preposterous. Dizzy, I believe he believes in what he believes in just as strongly today as he did when he first started. I believe that. Now, you may say he has a Netflix special. He's not really with the cause. If you believe that, I don't know what to tell you, except, except, I think we're very used to piecemeal justice. We're very used to you know these big corporations with these infomercials or these little commercials talking about, oh man, look how much money we're investing to this community. Oh, we sent all these pallets of water to Flint. Look at us. Look at what we're doing. We don't really seem to value the people that are out here in these streets every day actually putting in the work, nor do we value the people who actually are putting money in their pockets to do this work. For example, when Colin Kaepernick is out here um, giving business suits to people that are coming out of jail, so when they go on job interviews, they can get the job. That's not something people actually even think about. Is that people transitioning into the regular society, a lot of them, particularly people that are formerly incarcerated, they have oftentimes little to no support.
mm.
And something that as simple as a suit to go to an interview, it's something. And no one person can do it all. People like Martin Luther King or Gandhi, these people are prophets. They couldn't solve all these problems that we got. No one person can solve all these problems. But if you can draw attention to a significant issue for any amount of time, and you keep the ball rolling, so um, the arc of justice continually bends towards a more equal society, then that is mission accomplished. So, to say that, oh, he's not really in it, I don't believe that. I don't believe it. And I also don't believe that because you want to improve the country that you live in, the society that you live in, the community that you come from, and you don't want to live in a shack on the side of the road, does not mean you have any less authenticity.
I think that was well said, brother. Because people would say that he's not down for the cause because other people exploit situations and make money off of the negativity. He's doing something. He's trying to make money off something positive to try to spread light on certain situations. So I get your money, bro. I don't hate on you, man. Do a Netflix special, whatever you got to do. If you make your money, because this is a capitalist world,
Yep.
like you have to make your money as much as you can. So
This is the system that we have.
yeah, I don't disagree. I do your thing, and I don't hate on him at all. But
Yeah, it's hard for me to hate on him. I mean, it's I think it's just one of them situations where I just think I just think we need to be, as a community, we need to be a little less crabs in a barrel. And we need
yeah,
to understand that our leaders are not perfect. As a matter of fact, no leaders are perfect.
mhm.
But I will say, I don't know I don't know, outside of the Rodney King incident, I don't know if the topic of police brutality was spoken of more than when Colin Kaepernick did what he did.
Mhm.
And when you can get a whole country to focus on that when they don't want to,
You did your job.
that's something.
Yeah,
That's something.
I agree, man. Any final thoughts before we close this thing out?
As always, it's good to be on here, talk about what's going on
Mhm.
through the lens of sports. Good to talk to you as always.
Mhm.
Always enjoy these conversations. And what else? No passes given. It's still up. I'm not uploading nothing, but y'all keep subscribing. Appreciate that. Uh, the march to 1,000 subscribers is going strong. We likely will get there by the end of the year. So I appreciate that. And everybody out there, stay safe. Uh, do what you got to do, because this world out here, it's a game of give and take.
Mhm.
And as much as you may want to give, you also have to realize that you have to take as well. So stay frosty.
And again, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but we are teaming up with a sports betting website, betnow.edu. Don't forget to use our promo code NFDBET. Just make sure you use it. I think they cover about 30% of whatever you put in. So make sure you check us out. And also check us out on YouTube and Facebook Live and Apple Podcasts. This is Not for Debate. Havoc and G Money. Everybody have a good night.
Peace.